Good evening, everyone. Good night. 9 o'clock, Tuesday Night Live, August 15th. This year is flying by, Mike. This time 2 years ago, we were doing the Hinton Mills back to deer season bash. I don't know. I want to say that back to school bash.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, I didn't even have my mic down. Can you hear me better now?
That sounds better. Yeah.
What's funny is that I had my mic up and a hat on top of it because sometimes when I'm watching TV, I just flip my hat. It's real fun. I just flip my hat up there.
Yeah.
So I make it a game. Usually get first try. But anyway, I was saying 2 years ago, I saw that we were at the Hinton Mills event. It's exciting to see how much they have grown. This hat's become a joke. Somebody just said, "Love that hat, man." That's probably Nathan. But listen, I don't care, man. This is a phenomenal hat. It fits my head great. Hats like this Carhartt hat. I'm a hat guy.
Yeah.
I have dozens of hats. People
Same.
send us hats. And most of them are really small. I don't have a big head like Josh. Josh has a big head. But, I need a bigger hat. So thanks for whoever said it. I'm sure that was Nathan. But anyway, we got a lot going on. Deer season's in a couple weeks. What is it, about 18 days, I think.
Yep.
Squirrel hunting tournament is this Saturday, August 19th, which is my grandma's birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to her. Hopefully kill some squirrels, Michael. I'm excited, man. It's you know what, today, if you were outside today, it felt like fall.
Yes, it did.
I mowed the yard. I just got a shower. My hair's wet right now. But it felt like fall, and I walked outside with the girls, and I said, "Girls, oh my gosh, this feels like deer hunting season." So
yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited. I am very excited.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to get out on Saturday. I've been just really looking forward to that. The hickory nuts are going to be, if we find a hot tree, it's going to be. I just love this time of year, man. The squirrel season kicks everything off. Love finding those hot hickory nut trees and just sitting under them, waiting for the fox squirrels and gray squirrels to come in, and maybe we can put a few down Saturday.
Yeah, let's see who's watching. Jimmy Carroll. If you see like big accounts, like I don't know, big, large Facebook accounts or TikTok accounts or Twitter, anytime someone posts something, they'll reply like everybody wants to be the first comment. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like our buddy Fishing with Tate on TikTok. He's a Kentucky boy. Every time he posts a video, everyone races and they put first in the comments. They want to be the first comment. Jimmy Carroll is the first comment, I think, every Tuesday night. So
love it.
Hey, Jimmy, hope you're feeling well. Jimmy, hope you're doing good. Scott Butler's here. James Evans is here. Brent Lemming. Brent is actually using the page tonight. Usually he's a group user, right?
Yep. Typically. Hey, Brent.
Scott says I look manly. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. I've been called a lot worse in my life. Josh Wilson says squirrels are in trouble when Saturday comes around. I love it. I think tomorrow night, if you're signed up for the squirrel hunting tournament, tomorrow night I'm going to do a Facebook Live to answer questions, to give out information. It's just, hey, I'm going to be there. Show up if you have questions. If not, actually, you probably need to show up. I'm going to go through how we're going to run everything. So cool. I think it'll be good tomorrow. We're going to do that tomorrow night at 9. Excuse me. Chris says, I was excited for deer season, but something odd has been going on in the woods the past week or so. Explain, Chris. Is this like something odd, like the deer aren't showing up, or like
we need some
aliens, or what is it?
We need to elaborate on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was hoping tonight, Mike, we could talk about, Kentucky is one of maybe 4 or 5 states that have early season velvet deer hunting. Right, it's a great opportunity to kill velvet buck. And I know Tennessee has that. I think South Carolina has it. I want to say maybe Arkansas or Mississippi or one of those. Uh-oh, hit my computer. But out of all the states, Kentucky and Tennessee are up there for the best opportunity to kill a velvet buck. And so I want to talk about kind of some strategies, whether you're private land, public land, depending on where you're hunting, what deer behavior is like this time of year. And if you've been scouting them, or can you stick to those same patterns, or you need to change it up? Just kind of get into some of that. I want to hear from people watching, what they do, questions they have. So if you're here, we're going to talk early season velvet buck hunting. We're going to talk. We can talk a little bit about the squirrel hunting tournament. We're right at 25 people for the public land camp.
Awesome.
There's a few that's not completely confirmed, but we're very close to having that filled up. And so lots of things we can talk about tonight. Hey, you know what? Does anybody get this magazine?
I don't.
I was into this issue, Mike.
Were you
I
really?
was looking at it, and it's just sitting here beside me. I was looking at it, and they did a story on the elk event, and they had a picture of me calling names. I was like, wow,
Nice. That's
I've made
awesome.
it. Kentucky Afield
You
magazine.
made it in. That's great.
So let's help Chris out right here. Let's see if we can diagnose without knowing anything about his situation. Let's take some guesses and say, Chris had bucks showing up on camera, and he was excited for deer season. And now Chris feels hopeless. He's depressed. He's sad because his bucks that he had coming in regularly have now vanished. Mike, what are your theories there?
I've got my number one theory.
Number one theory. Let's find out, Chris. What part of the state do you live in? Let's find that out first.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know this.
I've got a theory.
Chris is a regular. He's on here all the time. Brent Lemming says Sasquatch.
Could be.
Who knows?
No, I've got a theory. We'll wait a minute, but it's gonna
Hart County. Well, daggone it. I gotta look up where Hart County is. I don't even know, bro.
So
Hart County, Kentucky. Well, you know what? You might be in trouble. You may have just been confused, Chris, because I typed in Hart County, Kentucky, and it brought up a picture of a kangaroo. So maybe you had kangaroos. I guess you're near Mammoth Cave out there. Have you ever been to that Kentucky Down Under, Mike?
No, I've never been.
I've always wanted to take the kids there. They do have kangaroos, and it is in Hart County in Bering. So Hart County near Mammoth Cave. Brent says Sasquatch. Mike has another guess. Doug, I am big time now, if you didn't know. So it's good to be my friend, Doug. All the corn people dumped, took them away. I thought he was saying all the corn people. I didn't know what he meant. So all the corn that people have been putting out around you, Chris, have pulled those deer away. But maybe Chris is putting a bunch of corn out. Chris, tell us more about the situation. And Mike, go ahead and expound on that.
Yeah, no, Scott basically hit my first point with it being, 15 days, with it being 15 days removed of the ban. I think deer are being fed heavily, probably more so. I think people have ramped up their feeding because it's been banned for such a long time. And I think you're going to see serious deer movement situations this year in particular because it changed. Guys, we talk about feeding, now that the ban is over, we've been feeding minerals. We talk about antler builder and how great it is because I love it. I use it all the time.
Yep.
But there is no question feeding deer changes deer movement on properties. It does 100%.
Yeah.
It changes if your neighbors are doing it and you're not. If you are and your neighbors aren't, it changes the complexion of your entire area. Feeding does. I promise you it does. And John, you and I, with the stories that we've been writing in the last couple of years, feeding has a major part in deer hunting now. It's a huge, huge part of it. And because we weren't able to do it for so long, all of a sudden somebody flips the light switch.
Boom.
It's changed deer behavior, and it's changed it later in the summer more so than it has in the past. That's
one thing I've mentioned several times in the past few weeks. I've not been able to get a hold of anyone to come on here and talk about it. But the Pennsylvania deer study that they did, like 10-year deer study they've been doing, one of the things they discovered, which is really just bizarre. I mean, just the biological clock of deer. I don't know why I added an S there. But that deer movement greatly decreased the day before opening day. So I wonder if deer around here have been so used to, now this may be, I don't know if there's any science behind this. I could just throw this off the wall. If deer in Kentucky have been so used to being fed in the summer months that this year they're just like, What's going on?
Could
Where's
be.
my feeder I hit every July, right?
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Brent contends that it is still Sasquatch. He also says he can't stand a freeloader. Those deer. I'm just now, my brain is thinking, what if one of those kangaroo at Kentucky Down Under got out? You could easily mistake that for a deer.
Depending on.
That
Yeah.
would be a killer story. I mean, you could if you just glance and it comes hopping through there and you just take a shot. I mean, you could definitely confuse that for a deer. I think
Yeah.
that'd be a great story.
Yeah. That'd
Unfortunate
be
for the
wild.
kangaroo. Have you ever seen that video of that guy fighting a kangaroo?
Yeah.
It's
Man,
one
them
of the
things.
best videos of all time. Have y'all seen that? Sorry. Let's see. We got a big comment here from a Facebook user. He says, "Man, I'll tell you, first-hand patterning a buck in these mountains is one of the toughest things I've ever done. I pattern turkey; they are easier, but deer are just absolute wild in these hills. You got it figured out, and then it changes in the 3-day period. But what people don't realize, talking about mountain bucks, it could just be the next point over or the draw down low, according to the thermals and such. I'll catch heat for this, but field deer are so much easier to pattern than a big or small mountain." I'm guessing he's saying deer.
No, I
Oh,
don't
no,
think
I don't think you're going to catch any heat for that.
no, you
Mountain deer
shouldn't, because
are,
it makes complete sense, because field deer, you can sit on the country road with your binoculars or a scope,
yeah,
what is it, a viewing scope from your truck, and just like view and watch deer in your soybean field or whatever.
you're
So I
right.
mean,
Oh,
that
yeah,
makes complete sense. It is going to be easier because you can see them
absolutely.
better.
No, mountain deer are tough. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, some of those deer never even see a person. They may hear one or smell one, but they never lay their eyes on one because they're in such remote areas that are very difficult to get to.
Yeah.
And their escape path is just, it's they just have a big advantage. Anthony Jones says my bucks have disappeared over the last 2 weeks. I've have tons of does that have shown up, but last year was the same thing. They vanished for a while. October last year they started showing back up consistently. So maybe it's going to be a pattern for me. Hey, what did we say a few weeks ago? People don't hunt in September because it's hot. They don't want to hunt in October because of the lull, but you can still kill deer in both months. A lot of deer are killed in both months.
Yeah.
And so maybe for Anthony at his place, October is a little better month for his deer. He said, well, I keep clicking on the wrong ones. He's always got me by a day. Stop making fun of me, Jimmy Carroll. Don't know what Jimmy said. Oh, Anthony Jones, don't worry. Your neighbor. Oh, so Anthony and Jimmy are neighbors. So, Anthony, we're glad to have you, brother. I don't know if you've been on here before, but if you're a
Yeah.
friend of Jimmy's, you're a friend of ours. Scott
Absolutely.
Brother says kangaroo is tasty, but Scott says that about everything. So I don't know if it is or not. I don't know. You ever had
Josh,
kangaroo?
I have never had kangaroo.
You think it's legal to have kangaroo?
My guess is probably no, but I
Probably
don't
not
know that.
here.
Yeah,
Australia, maybe. I don't know.
maybe. I think they're kind of protected though, aren't they?
I've seen them shoot them out of helicopters.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hard to get a 200 or 300 shot in hollers. I can see deer up to 250 on property, and they wouldn't know I'm there. Yeah, you're looking at 100 at the most. I mean, unless you're on a strip mine, and a lot of people in Eastern Kentucky hunt strip mines. If you're on a strip mine, take 1,000-yard shot sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd miss by 1,000
Hey,
yards.
there's a question back up in the comments that I wanted to jump to. Josh Wilson said, "Mike, do you think the later feeding of deer will change their patterns when acorns hit the ground too, or would they be used to it by then?" To be honest with you, Josh, this is just, and I'm no expert. We say that all the time here. We're just like everybody else, learning along the way, and we learn from each other here. But just in my opinion, is I think when the acorns stop dropping, they're going to focus less on the feed that we put down. They're going to focus less, because more than likely they have places where acorns are dropping. It's in their bedding area. They don't
It's
have to
thicker,
get up and move
yeah.
very
They're more
far.
protected.
They know where these places are, and they know where we aren't at that point in the season. So I personally think once acorns start dropping, specifically white oaks, once they start dropping, they're going to probably come to your feed less that's on the ground, your feeders and things. They'll probably come to that less. They'll probably visit at night, depending on where their travel route is. But Once acorns drop, that's probably where they're going to be their first choice.
Do you think that's the preferred food for deer?
Absolutely.
Is that
Yep.
hard mass, the
Yep.
acorns over
Yep.
everything else?
I do believe so because it puts fat on the quickest,
There you go.
and they know that. They know that when that food source is there.
Tim Callahan says those Harlan County deer definitely leave you scratching your head for sure. Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere Eastern Kentucky. Seth Gooden is a Harlan County boy. He said all his bow kills have come in October. Let's see. And let me add, go back to the same pattern in December.
Yep.
I don't know what comment that's after though.
Probably the
Anyway.
same one that talks about early. Usually it's early season. You can kind of get it, and then mid season when the rut happens, you don't know what the heck's going to go on, and then December when that rut's over, they kind of go back into that same routine as you might find them in the early season.
Scott said I must eat a lot of acorns.
Oh,
He
yeah.
got me on that one. He got me.
Hey, they're bitter, man.
I'll get him back. Brent says I wouldn't want to hunt mountain deer. Got spoiled with Northern Kentucky. Come on, Brent. Go back home. Go to the hills. Get you a big deer down there in the mountains.
Something else I'll add, and we'll read that comment here. Something else I want to add is because I think this also delayed people getting in the woods. This is just my opinion. Naturally, you get excited about feeding deer in September. Not September. If in past we were feeding them in June, July, August. We've got trail cameras out during that time. You're watching them grow literally all the summer. I think naturally it probably took people out of the woods a little bit during the summer. I could be wrong about that, but people are not putting cameras out next to their feeders and stuff this summer. I think we've increased it now. As soon as August hit, we all ran to the woods and filled our feeders. We put our cameras out. We increased activity in the woods. So you might have shook things. We're just a couple weeks away, and it's also just a couple weeks away from when we picked up that activity in the woods. It might have shook things up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anthony says Jimmy Carroll and I work together. He just knows the history of my property. So far, the neighbors are winning, and I'm the one putting the work in to keep them coming across his property. What can we do here? How can we help Anthony to sabotage his neighbors hunting and make sure the deer redirect and go to his place? We'll be thinking, Anthony. We don't want to do anything illegal, but we'll go right to the edge. Right, Mike?
That's right. Sit on the fence.
Yeah, we'll go right to. We won't do anything illegal, but we'll take all the advantages we can get. Kyle Sams, resident deer expert, says mountain deer are where it's at. Looks like John wants to go kangaroo hunting. I'm just curious. Oh, that's not him. I'm just curious, Chris. Just curious. But I do hope that your deer come back. Here's Steve Stemke. Steve, where are you from? Let us know. First year bow hunting, the bucks can go wherever they want as long as I get a September doe. Steve, we are all for you, brother. We hope you get a few. Wherever you're at, if you can kill more than one, take it.
I love doe hunting. I love doe hunting.
That's what I mean. Heck, if I'm out there open in the morning and a doe walks out and I'm able to harvest the doe, I'm done for the day. I'm going home. Taking the doe, going home, and I'm 100%. Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
I know some people don't like to take does early season, but I don't. Man, if I get a big mature doe come my way, I'm flinging. That's for sure.
Yeah. Josh has a good idea. He said Anthony could put a water source, and they may stay out or stay on his place during the hot early season.
Yeah,
I've seen people dig holes and put little kiddie pools in there. You just need to put something in, and you don't drown the squirrels, right? But yeah, there you go.
We got to actually. Josh. Kyle's on here. I'd love to ask this question. I've always kind of wondered about this. Kyle, when people put in, is there a safe way to put in a watering hole to where it's not going to be that, that worry of stagnant water, things of that nature? Is it going to be detrimental? What can people do? Is there anything specific people need to do to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen if it could be harmful? I'd like to know that. I've always been interested.
There you go. We'll let Kyle answer. Do you think Kentucky will join Kansas in ban baiting? Here's what I think. I think most states will ban baiting eventually. I think it'll take a long time for Kentucky to get there unless we get CWD. Hopefully we don't. I have been told by well, I'll say one person at least in Fish and Wildlife that they have no plans to ban baiting,
Mm-hmm.
even if
That's
they
right.
want to, even if the biologists think they should, even if the commission says they should, whatever. Even if they want to, they have no plan to ban baiting like for good because they know that Kentucky hunters like to bait and
Yeah.
they want a high number of satisfied hunters. So you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about that unless. Now, I will say the reason they did it this year is had nothing to do with deer. Nothing to do with deer. It was all about turkeys, and people have been hollering and complaining and moaning and groaning about we got to do something about turkeys. We got to do something to stop the turkey decline. We got to do this, got to do that. Shut down the season, limit the bags, shorten the season, whatever. Well, they took a step in doing that because they believe turkeys die from, from corn that is left out in the hot sun that I don't know if generates the right word, but turns moldy and toxic to these turkeys. So that's why they did it. It had nothing to do with deer. So
Aflatoxin.
I don't think, aflatoxins. I don't think that you're going to see a bait from August to January. I don't think you're going to see that. So
No.
I think eventually you will, but it's going to be a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And we were actually told, from really good sources just at the Antler Builder event that we got to go to. We got to talk to a lot of great people from the department. And they told us they're not trying to get people with this bait ban. This was not a hook with bait on
Right.
it, so to speak, to catch people and get people in trouble. It literally was a decision based on wildlife, based on things and new studies, not necessarily, and this was also mentioned to us, this is not necessarily studies that have gone on in Kentucky, but studies in the areas around us and information that's being shared with our department, shared with our biologists from other states' studies. That decision was completely based on making sure we're doing right by wildlife. And that's number one, in my personal opinion. We got to make sure we're doing the right things. We don't want to be the cause of a bunch of turkeys dying because we're putting moldy bait on the ground. If we
Yeah.
know if we know we can play a part in that, we need to do what we can, even if that means pulling bait up for a while.
There you go. Because Mike said so.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Awesome.
the bar. What kind of shirt you wearing, Mike? I see it says hunt. What are you hunting?
Yeah. Nope. It says it just says Hunt Kentucky. And
I
it's
don't
just
see.
got a
Oh, you instead of the word Kentucky, you just put the state on there.
Yep, just got the state, and it's got a deer antler there cut
Antler.
inside of it. Just
Cool.
says Hunt Kentucky.
Steve's from Louisville. Steve's going to be hunting public land. Steve, I have a couple of places that aren't a far drive from Louisville that I've hunted that I've seen deer at. And if you would like, those are places I won't be hunting this year. So if you would like those places, I will send you the pin on Onyx. Just shoot me the message. First year bow hunter, I'd love to help you out. You know, Steve, I'll go ahead and tell you. You know as much about bow hunting as I do, probably, but it's always good to have a somewhere to start, right? It's good to have a starting point. Let's see here. Seth can't wait to bow hunting. 18 days, Seth. 18 days, and we'll be out there. Brent wants to put 4 or 5 deer away. Haven't been successful doing this lately. We eat deer meat like most do beef. Yeah, we do too. So,
Yeah, good stuff.
Let's see. Can you imagine, Mike, when John gets hot and you walking out and there he sits in that deer kiddie pool? If he keeps that water clean, I might. If
Yep.
it's green, I ain't getting in. Bub's on here. Let's see. If you ain't baiting, you're waiting. I like it. That's old T-Bone. That's what T-Bone says. You ain't baiting, you're waiting. And I saw one the other day for fishing that said it had to do with the forward-facing sonar. I'll think of it and come back. It was funny. All right, Anthony, we have inspired Anthony to sit on the fence and bring the deer in. Anthony, what happens on here, what happens on your property stays on your property. We won't tell a soul. I promise. Kyle says that's a good question. Going back to Mike's question about how to properly install a water source, a water hole on your property to keep deer there. Kyle has the answer. So that's a good question. Water is always good. but deer will use what is best available. So if you have a stagnant water source, deer won't use unless they absolutely have to. Also, deer get most of their water from eating plants.
Perfect.
Also, Kentucky has more navigable water than any other state in the lower 48. So deer don't have to go very far in Kentucky to find water. Let's see, James Runner. Hey, I've been talking to James. James is coming up to Western Kentucky. Poor James, he had friends he was coming up here with. They all bailed on him. Oh, gosh. They all bailed on him. I got to quit drinking this Mellow Yellow over here. They all bailed on him, and now he's coming up by himself for, I think, 10 days. That's a
Wow.
lot. That's a lot of days.
Yeah.
And going to be hunting out Western Kentucky. So hopefully he's going to be hunting near where me and my brother will be. So hopefully we're going to meet up and
That'd be cool.
show him around.
Yeah.
This
awesome.
person says, this might be Bub. I don't know. I think the baiting ban this year will help deer in the mountains. Definitely Bub, I think. Instead of feed early summer, you had folks using minerals. There you go. Joshua Boone Sweet says, looking forward to it this year. So am I, Joshua. Josh, we got to get together. Josh invited me. Josh's son was in my 5th grade class like probably 5 years ago.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. He's about a grown man now. And
That's awesome.
Also, Josh, did he get the job? Did he was applying for a job at Ramsey's, which is a restaurant in Lexington. I don't know if he got it. But Josh had a end of deer season cookout last year. That was great. It was really good. So I'm looking forward to doing that again, Josh.
That sounds awesome.
Let's see. My brother Josh is on here. He hasn't heard back. Well, Josh, if he gets it, his son's name is Duncan. If Duncan gets it, then I'm going to. I want you to let me know when he's serving or if he's a server, and I'm going to go and eat there the night that he's working. So that'll be
fun.
Also, Josh, I gotta say this: Josh's dad recently passed away. Wonderful, wonderful man. He would come to my classroom to see Duncan, and I would tell the kids to work on something, and he and I would sit there and talk about hunting and fishing for an hour. And so, Josh, I'm so sorry that he passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Just a great guy. I have so many friends whose grandparents are passing away, and like the last year, my dad passed away.
Yeah.
My kid's grandmother just passed away on their mom's side. Had another friend who just lost their mom. It's just tough. It's tough, man. It's tough when you get a certain age and you start losing people. So anyway, where are you guys going? Okay, so my brother Josh sold his bow today. He sold like a 10-year-old bow for $600.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a PSC. Didn't lose much value. I think it's like $1,000 bow. He sold it for $600. It did have a new sight on it, and had a quiver and stuff. But somebody just asked Josh, "What are you going with?" I think he's going with the Bear Adapt, which is the hunting public bow. So we'll see. I don't know.
I'm excited to see it.
I told you better hurry and get it.
Yeah, he does need to hurry and get it.
He always waits the last minute. Always waits the last minute. Keystone Excellent Experience. What's up, fellas? What is the Keystone Experience, Mike? Do you know?
I do not personally. We can hear more about it.
Brent's lost 3 grandparents since January. Brent, that's tough, man. It's tough.
It is.
Josh says, thinking about a Bear, but I'm also on the fence to get a PSC. So, Mike, you shoot a Hoyt?
I do. Hoyt Factor.
How old is your bow?
Bought that in 2013.
Nice. So it's 10 years too.
Yeah.
I have a buddy that as of maybe last year, he was shooting a Matthews from 2005. And that thing was still, it was absolutely just shooting darts. It seemed faster than a new Matthews.
Yeah.
It had like wood grain on it. I love it.
Really nice. That's sharp.
Yeah. I like my Scott Butler likes his Bear Divergent. Keystone Experience. We are Pennsylvania-based podcast. Well, awesome.
Very cool.
Thanks for being on here. And we appreciate you. We're on here every Tuesday. We're Kentucky-based. We talk a lot about Kentucky, but we try to talk about other states. So if you ever want to come on, talk about Pennsylvania, holler at me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Josh. Yeah, I hope you get that velvet buck, man. Oh gosh, I do. Okay, I'll have to come see it. Kyle Sam says Josh is going to be in the same boat with you, John, on getting your bow sight in. Kyle, I'm working on it, Kyle. I've been up there to the course, not the course, the range, and got it dialed in to perfect at 20, not quite perfect at 30, but I mean I was within a 3 to 5 inches, just not as good as I want it to be. So I'm gonna go back here in the next couple of days. I'll probably go 3 or 4 more times before opening season.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely going to get some more sessions in behind the house here.
What do you usually practice at, Mike?
I usually practice right here in the backyard. I've got I usually shoot at about 20, 25 yards. I can get out to 30 here in my backyard. What I do is I'm actually standing in the side yard. I open my fence gate and I've got like a kind of a backstop of hay and stuff stacked up to where I
Right.
can shoot at my target. And then I usually stand outside my gate and I shoot down when I open the door. I can shoot through the fence there when the door's
And
open.
how many yards are you shooting at?
Usually, consistently, I'm practicing at 20 to 25.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Josh Wilson says he has a bear species EV he's happy with. Seth has a bear species and he loves it. There you go. Bowtech Convergence. I hear a lot of good things about Bowtech. Never shot one. Um, only ones I have shot's a bear and a PSE. Someone asked, how often do you restring your crossbow? Scott said every 3, wax often. Just me, though. Okay. But look at here. I think Josh has the record here. Josh Sweet says he's been shooting a Matthews solo cam from 1996.
That's awesome.
That's
That's
nice. That's
awesome.
probably older than, I don't know. I bet maybe Seth. My brother was born in 92. Most of these guys on here are old guys. Let's see. Good question here. How much time do you spend shooting broadheads versus field points? Might go ahead and take that. Oh, let me say this. Kyle said, "Where's the invite?" Kyle, I literally went after I dropped my girls off school one day, and it was spontaneous, and I just figured you were at work, so I'll probably do that again, maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday or Friday. So if you're not working, holler at me. We'll
Shoot,
go.
bring your bow Saturday.
I'm killing squirrels Saturday. All right, broadheads versus field points. I've only been shooting with field points, but before I'll probably get at least 2 really good sessions in with broadheads. My broadheads shoot pretty close to my field points, so
Yeah.
not too concerned with it, but probably 2 good sessions.
Yep, that's probably about what I do. I typically shoot field tip, but I will shoot, just to make sure I'll shoot my broadheads. And I don't, you know how I am. We've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah.
If I find equipment that works, I don't touch it. So I'll put the same stuff on. I know how it goes. I do it over and over and over and over again. So I don't really use my broadheads a lot for practice shooting because I just don't change that stuff ever. But I will shoot just to make sure everything looks good.
Yeah, Mike's not a guy that likes to try new things.
I don't mess around with my equipment much.
And I'm the guy that I would try a new bow every year if I could.
I do not tinker. That's for sure. As soon as I
have I have a PSE Evo EVL. It is 2 years old, and I really like it. It's very quiet. It's incredibly fast. It's just a little big, just a little long. I went with a 34-inch cam to cam because my buddy said it would be more forgiving, and I'm all about being more forgiving. But I wish I went with a 32. But anyway.
I got you.
David Craig says older Matthews solo cams were tack drivers, no doubt. Matthews is probably the most popular brand, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. I think it is probably the most popular brand. PSE's up there. I would say Bear's probably up there, but Matthews is probably
Bear's the oldest. I mean, it's the OG, right?
Yeah.
Tim says that he made the switch to a Bear Adapt, which is what Josh is wanting. Impressed with it. Clean break, solid back wall, and quiet. Quiet is a big thing. I think that's one way bows have increased, I guess, is they're more quiet now than they used to be.
Yeah.
Because the bow that Josh sold is the bow that I used my first year 3 or 4 years ago, and it was not as quiet. It was a tank driver, like someone said. It was like it's impressive, but it's not as quiet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Camden Allen says, "What's up, fellas? Enjoying listening to the show. This is Kenny on my son's Facebook page. It was a pleasure meeting you on Maysville at the feed store. Keep up the good work. Great to meet you, Kenny, at the feed store, and I appreciate you being on here, brother.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thanks for coming
commenting.
on with us.
Yeah. Let's see. Shooting the phase 4 now. Tim Fannin has a Q2 XL. Josh Wilson with the bow from '96 is older than I am. Okay, Josh Wilson's is. I knew we had a couple young guns on here.
That's cool though, man. Looking at old bows like that is like, my grandpa's or my dad's or my uncle. It is so cool to see
Yeah,
just that's history now. Like it's just the history of and the evolution of archery is phenomenal. It's crazy.
yeah. Brent Lemon says, "Do you use the same broadheads for practice that you use in field, or do you buy extra sets?" I use the same ones, Brent, because even the 3 broadheads that you have in that pack aren't perfectly the same. They may, for instance, when I had my arrows cut and fixed and ready to go, I have a friend that does that for me, and he put the broadheads in. He spun the arrow. He made sure, it was spinning perfectly, that it wasn't no wobble to it, and we put the broadheads in, and I've not touched them, like Mike said. So I use the same ones now. If you're using, for instance, a few years ago, I used a brand that sometimes I shoot them in broadheads and they were mechanical and they'd break. And so I couldn't use those. But the Annihilators, I don't have any around here. The Annihilators they're indestructible. So I use the same ones. Mike, do you use those? Do you use the same
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah. I use the Annihilators. I think I'm shooting 100 grain if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can reuse those really well, and you can even resharpen them a little bit. And it's real easy to resharpen them too. So I've just used the same ones.
Yeah.
Another brand that I'm very comfortable with is Wasp Hammer SSTs. I
Yeah.
always use those as well. They're fixed blade, three
You've
blade
always
fixed
been a
blade.
fixed blade guy, haven't you?
I sure have. I've very much been a fixed blade guy, and it's because I've never tried the mechanical.
Have you never shot a mechanical at all?
I've never shot a mechanical at a
That's
deer
funny.
ever, not
That's
ever.
funny.
But it's because I literally don't change my stuff. I just don't. I don't know why. I'm just, I don't know.
I don't. It's just in my head. Like I know, like if you look at studies and people that have shot and compared, I mean the mechanicals oftentimes they perform better.
They cause more
And I know
blood.
they
Yeah,
slice but in my head I'm just like, there's no way fixed blade
it's
it would have to be better. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's tough for me, man. It really is. I've always used fixed blade, and I stick to it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, David Craig's 34. Axel is perfect size. I love it, Dave. I do. It's just sometimes when I have it there in the saddle with me, I just feel like it's a little long.
That makes
But I
sense.
love it. I wouldn't trade it. Like at this point, I love shooting it. It's easy to shoot. I have it on 70 pounds, which is that's heavy. I'm not Cam Haynes shooting 90 pounds, but 70 pounds. I mean, it's easy the draw's easy. The let off's great, and I love it. I'm not complaining about it at all. And I got a great deal on it with through a friend of mine, so I'm really not complaining.
Yeah,
Let's see. Josh likes the PSE Fortis 30. Steve has a PSE Evoke 35. Steve, Steve. If you've been practicing, and you're ready when you go out there, that thing will not let you down. That's a great bow. Scott Butler says never. I guess the question was, has he ever turned down a meal? I don't know. Dwayne Best says, "What's up, guys? Dwayne's going to be at the public land deer camp. He's
nice.
ready. He was there last year, and hopefully he brings one back that we can cook. It slings them. I've gotten behind. I don't know what some of these mean. Let's see. Scott says my broadheads are fixed, and I've never had a flying issue. Josh prefers fixed blade. Dwayne prefers fixed blade muzzy. Josh is going with Schwacker broadheads this year. That's mechanical. Of course, we got Josh two free packs of Annihilator broadheads, and he won't even use them. Of course, I guess we could just give them away to somebody.
We should.
I've had great success with Grim Reaper. I've heard a lot of people talk about the Grim Reaper broadheads. I can't even tell you what they look like. But I've heard that. Britt says, great show. Good night, fellas. Britt, good night, brother.
Night,
Have
Britt.
a good week. We'll see you next Tuesday. What do we got? Let's see, the 19th, and then 7 days will be the 26th. So we got 2 more Tuesdays before opening week. Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy.
Dwayne shoots a Matthews Hallen, 32.
Yep.
Anybody ground hunt or all tree stand. So Steve, it feels like Steve's where I was a few years ago. It's his first year bow hunting. He's hunting public land. Scott called me a butthole. I've not been called a butthole since like 4th grade. Oh, that's funny. So Steve, my first year, I hunted off the ground, and I'll tell you, I loved it. I still love it. I just know there's an advantage of being in a tree. My second year, I guess this is my 4th season. They all run together after a while. So, anyway, one year I hunted off the ground and I didn't get a shot. I had a shot at some deer, and I was naive thinking that I would have more opportunities down the road that never came. So I should have shot those. But when I look back on that season, I learned a lot about deer behavior from hunting on the ground because I literally had bucks come face to face with me, and we're both like shocked, like they come through so quickly, and we see each other, and I didn't have time for a shot, didn't have an angle for a shot. So when I was reflecting upon that season of hunting off the ground, I realized if I had been in a tree in that same position, right? If I would have just taken where I was sitting, moved up to a tree, that's a kill. And I would say that season, I saw several public land bucks. I saw some bucks in Harlan. Probably around 10 bucks that I saw. Probably only 2 that I would have shot. The one in Harlan I would have shot. The one on Kleber or Rich, one of those I would have shot. But being on the ground hurt me. But I'm a big guy, and I have a hard time sitting still. So if you're the opposite of that, Steve, you'll be just fine. It's hard, but you can do it. You need a good chair. You need good natural coverage. Good natural coverage. If you go out there with the blind, you go out there and try to put some camo or whatever up, you're going to get caught. If you just really camouflage. The only deer I've ever killed was off the ground. And I was just tucked in behind 2 big trees where only deer that could see me was a deer right in front of me. And one walked out to my left and I shot it. So you can do it. It's fun, but it's also very frustrating at times. So Mike, go ahead. Sorry.
I love that. I love that that whole explanation of your first year and the things that you learn, because you do have an advantage in a tree, and that's something that you learned.
You do, for sure.
So if I were to give somebody advice, I would say find a way to get a tree stand into wherever you're going. Be super safe. Make sure you're wearing safety harnesses. Make sure you go with a buddy if you're hanging a stand, especially on public land, and make sure other people at home know where you're at all times, or at least know where you're going to be. Just that advice at first, but get in a tree stand because it'll make your life much easier. It is super, super hard if you've never hunted before. Have never, you're first getting into it, and you don't even really have somebody sitting next to you. So I had the benefit of my dad sitting next to me, physically next to me, and guiding me through things. But if you're trying to figure out your way and you're kind of getting some advice from people, but you're going to be alone in the woods, get yourself in a stand. It makes it much easier for sure. Hunting on the ground is very difficult, especially with a bow.
But go for it. If that's the only way you have to hunt right now, go for it. Even if it's not even if that's just, here's the thing I will tell you. Let's just say you don't want to hunt out of a tree stand. You're like, hey, I'm scared of heights, or hey, I don't want to spend the money, or whatever. I don't know what the reason would be. You can't say I only hunt public because you could do a saddle or a climber. Let's just say you don't want to hunt out of a tree stand. That's okay.
Yeah.
Your learning curve will be a little steeper, but if you put in the time, you're going to make a ton of mistakes. But by year 3, you're going to be killing deer off the ground. You're going to be doing so much better than you were in year 1. Even now, I'm hunting out of a saddle, but I feel like if I go in, if I go to the places I like to hunt and I hunt off the ground, I'm going to see deer. And eventually I'll learn how to position myself and what to wear and what to do. Scent control is a whole nother issue, but just making sure you're not going to be seen and busted, whether that's walking in or where you're setting up. It's going to take you a year of ruining hunts. It just will. Even have a tree stand on public land, you're going to go in and ruin hunts. It just happens. You can't let it worry you because you're going back. You might go back the next week or the next month or the next day, and it's fine. So just go for it, Steve. Watch all the videos you can. Hunting public's great. If you're going to watch any show, watch this one, right? So you're not going to learn a whole lot, but you might have a good time.
Hey, you learn from our mistakes.
There you go. There you go. We're not the experts, but sometimes we talk to some. But yeah, just go for it, man. That's what I tell anybody. If you're going to hunt, just have fun. If you leave with the deer, great. If you don't, just try to enjoy the process. Right, Mike?
That's right.
I agree with that.
That's the key.
Right. Let's see. I bow hunt in a tree stand, but I gun hunt on the ground.
That's where I am.
Scott's got to run. Scott's never run a day in his life. You know that. He ain't got to run. Anyway, I've gotten two good ones in on him. See you, buddy. See you, man. Jimmy's Carol says, time for the old man to hit the sack. Hope everyone had an amazing week. You too, Jimmy. Hope you have a great week, brother. We appreciate you. David Craig, I'm a ground blind guy here lately. Trying to self-film is much more forgiving. Yes, if you're trying to film and ground hunt without a blind, you're either not going to kill a deer or you're not going to get it on camera. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard. The deer that I killed, I had all the cameras set up where I thought it was going to be, and it came to one place that I didn't have a camera.
That's the way it always happens.
And you know what? Well, last year I only hunted a handful of times. The year before that, I tried to film every hunt early on, and then I just said, screw it. I don't care if it gets on film or not. So
sometimes that's one thing is I'll try to film stuff, but I will never miss a shot opportunity because I'm worried about getting it on film. No, I won't. No. I don't worry about that. It's just like if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Honestly, the shot is not the most important part of the video anyway.
Right.
It's the hunt is the most important part. It's, right before you shoot is important. Talking about it. Finding the deer is important. I mean, that's the most important part of all of it. But, yeah. Am I way behind on comments, I think? Josh Jenkins says saddle is a game changer, Steve. If you have the funds, I would recommend a saddle for public land. It just really helps you get into places where you normally couldn't sit or you couldn't take a bigger stand. So I would do that if I were you. We could help you with that. Josh says also watch out in the woods and fields right now. Got bit by a snake last week. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I was going to say that's funny. It's not. It's crazy because I was just telling somebody, I was like, man, I never see snakes. Like, very rarely see snakes when I'm hunting. If I see them, if you go out to Peabody in September, snakes all over the place, but they're on the gravel roads.
Mm-hmm.
I never see them. But I do have gators, Josh. I'll be wearing those now. Where did it bite you, Josh? Just like on the ankle? What were you wearing? I want to know the details here.
Yikes.
The biggest bow kill I have on a wall, killed off the ground on my knees, 15 yards. But now Dwayne's a lot smaller than me. If I got down on my knees, I'd be making so much noise that deer's running off.
Limitations. We got to know them, right? Because that's not something I could do either. You get
Sorry, my
messages over
phone's
there?
blowing up. Yeah, it's fancy football season, you know. Scott says if I get lost in the woods, just look for a smell of Twinkies, cherry, cough drops, or being gay. Only one being gay is well, say that. I've never liked Twinkies. That's like the number one thing. Like, oh, fat people. Well, I guess right now it's fudge rounds. Have you heard the new song, Mike?
No.
That if you're 5'3" and 300 pounds, taxes are not paid for your bag of fudge
Oh yeah,
rounds.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
Have you
heard it.
guys
Yeah.
heard that? You all like that song? You guys like this new song by Oliver Anthony? I think's his name.
It's
Josh
I've,
laughed because fudge rounds has they've always been a favorite of mine.
well, they're good.
But I pay for my own. Your taxes aren't paying for mine. So anyway, I don't like Twinkies, but Jonathan says Twinkies and moon pies are the most overrated redneck snack. A moon pie every now and then is okay. Twinkies, I just never liked them. You like Twinkies, Mike?
They're not my favorite. I mean, I can eat them, but they're not something that I go to.
Yeah.
No.
What's your go-to snack? Let's do this. What's your go-to snack in the woods? We'll tie it into deer hunting, and we got
Good
7 minutes.
Good question. I tend to
Not just Mike. If you're in the comments, if you're watching, even if you've not commented at all, even if you're watching, you've not clicked the screen, click it. What is your go-to snack when you're deer hunting? What do you take? Something that's quiet?
Yeah, I probably take. I mean, if I'm taking I'll just say this: if I'm taking a lunch, I don't take snacks really. If I'm gun hunting, I'll take a lunch and just
Okay.
throw a bunch of stuff. I'll have apples. I'll have peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Probably a bag of chips like Doritos or something, and then probably some like a Snickers bar or like fudge rounds, and then Oreos. I like taking Oreos to the woods. Those are always good.
Hold
And
on.
then
I'm going to interrupt before we get in on snacks.
go ahead.
Josh was walking on a cut path through an overgrown hayfield at his dad's. He had flip-flops on. Josh, come on. You knew better than that. Flip-flops that got him on the hill. Biggest copper rattle moccasin I've ever seen. Josh, what was the treatment? Like, did your foot turn black? Did your whole calf turn purple and black? Have you seen those, Mike? I had a neighbor when I was probably like in 5th grade. He moved off, but we used to play up in the creek all the time, and he got bit by a copperhead once. And I mean, they took him straight to the ER and stuff, but his entire arm turned black.
Yeah,
it was wild. So
that's nasty. That's
send me
nothing to
pictures,
play
Josh.
with.
Send me pictures. So apples, just simple things. You're taking a lunch, maybe a sandwich, yeah. Now, if I'm going all day and I'm taking a lunch, I usually take a Army issued MRE that my brother has given me. A lot of them are good, and a lot of them aren't. We usually just eat them cold, so I pick the ones it might be chicken noodle soup cold or spaghetti cold or something, but they're usually pretty good. But if I'm just going in there, I will take. I try to take something that doesn't make a lot of noise. Beef jerky is my number one. I just, I leave the pack open in my backpack and I'll just reach my hand down there and get it. I don't take a lot in the woods though.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
really
gonna be there
either.
5 hours. If I'm gonna be there like 6 to 11 of the morning or something, I'm just not taking anything really.
I've got you flipped over to those. What are those called? The little kefir elf. Those,
Now look, if it's deer camp, we want all the snacks. We want the Grippos. We want the little kefir fudge chips or whatever you call them. We want the bags of fudge rounds. We like it all. But if I'm going to pack a sandwich, it's going to be a PB&J.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
Right? Because if I want some kind of like turkey or ham sandwich, I want cheese on it. I want mayonnaise on it. And that stuff, just the bread gets soggy. I'm just going to take a PB&J.
Yeah.
This person said oranges. That's a heck of a snack. If you peel them and just put them in a baggie first.
There you go.
This is like the 3rd week in a row that the Reds have lost while we've been, and it's come through during our live.
Terrible.
They're just not doing it, man. They're just not cutting it. Honey buns, that's a good. My dad and I, when we would go golfing, me and Josh with us, we go golfing like 3 or 4 times a year, and we would always have honey buns, oatmeal cream pies. He would always take Diet Coke and beer, water, and Coke, maybe some Gatorade or something. But honey buns is always our choice when we went golfing.
That's a good one.
We ate the whole time. Let's see, toasted peanut butter crackers. Not really a fan of that. M&Ms. I can eat M&Ms anytime.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
your favorite M&M, Mike?
I like the ones with the peanuts in them, but I also like the regular as well.
Yeah, I like peanut butter. Only kind of likes the peanut butter.
That's good too.
Definitely the best. Beef stick and cheese, Slim Jims and Pringles. No ruffling of the chip bag. Ooh, Pringles, no chip bag. That's a nice little tip there. Trail mix in a Ziploc bag, fudge rounds or nutty bars. You sound like my kids, David. That's what they like. MREs, of course. Deer jerky. There you go. Forgot a dough during bow season. And snowball cakes.
Nice.
I've not seen a snowball cake in forever. Let's see. I'll pack snacks the night before so they aren't allowed plastic wrap. That's very responsible of you, Josh. Sandwiches, jerky, beanie weenies. Wow. He's popping out. He's got a spoon and everything. Beanie weenies. John, you Uber and Subway. I don't know what that means.
He's saying, or do you Uber and Subway from the woods?
Oh. Hey, I could have worse choices than Subway. Don't be too bad.
This isn't into the woods type thing, but I absolutely love when we hunt a farm in Owen County. When we leave that farm, most of the time we stop at a gas station that used to be a check station. I've talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
But it used to be a check station a long time ago. We stopped by and grab us a Hunt Brothers pizza. And eat it on the way home.
Good. Hunt Brothers
It's
pizza.
awesome.
Very good.
I love
it. One of the best pizzas, I think.
I think so too.
I get everything on it. Do you just get everything on it?
Yeah, pretty much. We just go in there and they're like, "Can we have a slice of that?"
I wonder if the gas station's still open. Listen. Despite what Scott Butler says, my eating habits, I've been improving them. I've always been a big guy. I'm proud of it. There's a lot of guys that I could take because of my size.
I would say that's
Scott
a fact.
Butler. I'd probably wear Scott Butler's head out. But I have been trying to improve. I've been trying to get in better shape for deer season. And I have lost some weight. But I could smash a Hunt Brothers pizza right now.
Guarantee it, man. Guarantee. Me too.
Any Little Debbie snacks, I love them. There's some really bad ones, though. There's some really bad Little Debbie snacks. You think so?
Oh yeah, they're
yeah.
And you can get. It's kind of give or take. Like you might find a box that's great, and then maybe
I'm saying just the kinds like I like fudge rounds, oatmeal cream pies, Swiss cake rolls.
Yep.
Now my youngest daughter, is like spin wheels. They're gross.
Yeah.
They're just. I mean, she loves them, and both of my daughters are scrawny, but man, they like snacks. Yeah. What's Wyatt's favorite snack? Now, Wyatt's not scrawny. He's a bowling ball.
Gosh, what's Wyatt's favorite snack? What isn't his favorite snack? He's a big fan of he'll go in and get those what are those little frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Uncrustables.
Yeah, he gets those Uncrustables like crazy.
See, now I'm anti-Uncrustable.
I don't like them.
Here's why. I love them. My mom buys them. My sister's a senior in high school, so my mom buys them by a huge box, and my sister will come in from work or from school or something and eat one or take them to lunch. I'm like, Mom, you literally could make 100 PB&J sandwiches for what you're paying for a box of Uncrustables. They're just overpriced.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Dwayne brings a ski to drink. You know what that is, Mike?
No.
Have you ever heard that song, Let's All Go Down to Dumas Walker?
Oh, yeah, I have heard that.
A small burger, fries, and a bottle of ski. It's just a drink. That's a great song, by the way.
Huh.
Kentucky Headhunters.
I've heard of them.
Don't matter how much I take. I'm eating it all before 10 a.m. Despite, again, my looks and what Scott says, I'm just not a big snacker. One problem I have, and Mike, you've done this to me several times, I hate going hunting and fishing with a person that has to use the bathroom 12 times while we're there. It drives me crazy. And Mike has to do it. His bladder is small or something, and he just has to pee all the time.
Coffee,
It's all
man.
that coffee, man.
I drink a ton of coffee, and it goes right through me.
My buddy Christian, we'll get on a boat, and when I'm fishing, all I hear is just like it sounds like a water hose. I'm like, bro, you've peed 6 times off my boat already. We've been here for 3 hours. Drives me crazy. Steve brings 2 waters for every dooski I bring. I learned the hard way. Okay, so he's trying not to. Yeah, you don't want to get a little tipsy out there in the woods. Bite-sized Snickers all day. Okay,
Good
Trapper
ones.
Tom coming through. Bite-sized Snickers. Good to see you, Trapper Tom. Good to hear from you. I just take them and eat them and throw the peels. Northern Kentucky deer like noise. Just saying. Talking about bananas? Throw the peels?
Either that or oranges. I know somebody said oranges.
Oh, oranges. Yeah, oranges. Duh. Northern Kentucky. I wonder who that is. Northern Kentucky. Is it Mark Lilly? Maybe. Watch it. I mean, he knows he's killed more deer than you, Mark, up there in Northern Kentucky.
Probably.
I'm just kidding. Watching some studs this year, but the non-feeding till August got me behind. Seems to be the story for some people.
Yeah.
Scott said he's leaving. He can't leave me. He's like at remember that. I'm not even bringing that up. Anyway, pecan spin wheels are awesome. Oof. That's either a child or a really old person saying that. Reese cups in the cold. That does sound good.
Yes,
and
it
the
does.
cold is the key.
Yeah.
Got to take a thermos of coffee and firearm season. Nothing better. Man, that gets me pumped for deer season. It gets me pumped for November.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Duncan, that's Josh's son who's trying to get the bag, can crush a bag of Takis in 30 minutes. Kids these days, they love those Takis, man. Love them. Duncan was the kid when we would have like a party at school. He would be the one like, hey, do you want that? And he'd have all the food over there on his desk. So I believe that. Jonathan Gabbard says ski sucks. Josh Wilson says ski is a top tier drink. We have a little battle going here. I don't know if I've ever drank it or not.
I don't think I have either.
What I like, you can't find this anywhere but Harlan County. Mellow Yellow Zero.
Nice.
They should sponsor the show. I've talked about it 2 weeks now.
Dang it.
My sister works at a grocery store there, and she gets it for me.
Nice.
My buddy Travis will bring 2 pee bottles in the stand. Listen, I talked to a guy that was talking to me about helping him kind of do some marketing for his product. Has a product where you pee in the bucket, and it turns it into deer urine. I don't know.
Wow.
Synthetic deer urine.
That's something.
So it could be. That could be something people want. I hardly ever take any snacks hunting. Usually a big bottle of Dasani water, and I'm good. That's a fancy hunter right there. I stay hydrated. Always taking a leak. A few years ago, every time I would pee, a deer would show up. One time, a deer stuck his head in the blind watching me fill a bottle. Really weird. Okay. You should have thrown it in his face, and then he'd been ready. Okay, Scott really has to go now. All right, Scott, you said it.
Pee, or are you leaving the show?
Oh, Bear is the one who said he loves spin wheels. Water and Lifesaver mints. Now, here's the thing about that. You know what Lifesaver mints are?
Yeah.
You pop that Lifesaver in. Maybe you eat 1. Maybe you eat 2. Now, your mouth has this peppermint, like atmosphere of peppermint, right? Inside your mouth. You take a drink of water, it kind of hurts. Like cold water.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking. Kind of burns.
Yeah, it's like too much. It's intense. So I don't know about that. Gentlemen, good night. You too, John. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you. I love you, Scott. L8s and camels. Now that's a hunter. That's a Kentucky hunter. L8s and a pack of camels. There you go.
There, man.
He said he's definitely not a fancy hunter, just his favorite water. Wintergreen. Flavo, not peppermint. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still minty.
It is, but like, how many people in Kentucky? Another Kentucky thing is like, how many people got to dip in while they're in a tree stand? I don't know that it really messes. My dad will sit there and spit down the tree, and
Yeah, I don't think that affects him.
he kills deer. So it's one of those things.
Have you ever, Mike? Have you ever? I saw something on a video the other day. This guy said that early season, his go-to tactic. He said it works every single time. Is he finds a persimmon tree? He takes a handful of persimmons, climbs in a stand, and just starts dropping them.
Yeah.
He said he's seen deer 100 yards away hear that and come in. Works every time. I wish I could remember who was talking about it. It was like some kind of podcast like this.
Yeah, Will Primos used to take acorns and do that.
Yeah. Hey, this person just quit dipping last year. That's good. It's good to stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard people doing acorns like that. Never heard people doing persimmons like that.
Yeah, me neither. But persimmons.
Maybe bite-sized Snickers.
I mean, it's pretty much.
Those,
my uncle has a line of trees right in between our cornfield.
Yeah.
And that we just planted this year. And then that field that we planted a little bit of antler builder in, there's a line of trees that's got persimmons all up and down it. I'll have to see if there's persimmons up there this year.
Yeah. Comments keep coming in. Dwayne says he has a huge persimmon in his front yard. Dwayne, I've heard there are quite a few persimmon trees on Peabody WMA, and they hit them early season. I've just never found them. So we need to go out there and find those, Dwayne. Dwayne, you're closer than me. Drive down. I think you're north of it. Drive south. Find those persimmon trees. This guy said, was the guy that killed the big deer in Arkansas with the trap bow and freaked out after the shot? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Gabbert, good night, Jonathan.
Night, Jonathan.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being here. Deer like smells. They're curious creatures. Sometimes I think we overdo it during deer season. They're used to the stealth of the hunters. Just a thought.
We can overthink it sometimes, I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
And here's the thing. We give deer way too much credit. They're not as smart as we say they are. They have a great nose, right? But deer do the same thing every year, depending on the time of year. They do the same thing every year. You just got to put in a little work, right?
Hunt the conditions, put in the work.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll send Mike the link of the guy that drops persimmons. Oh, okay. So you're talking about the same thing I'm talking about.
Sweet. Yeah, please do.
Have a good night, fellas. Good show. Thanks, Anthony. We appreciate you, brother. Mike, I guess it's about time. Everybody's jumping off here. Maybe it's time for us to jump off. Took my first deer eating persimmon on the ground. There you go.
They love them, man. It's like candy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I know what a persimmon looks like, but if I looked at a tree far off, I don't think I could tell you if it's a persimmon tree or not until I got up to it.
Yeah, I'd have to be up close to it probably just to see the details of the leaves and things. Yep.
Ooh, now this is one of the best comments of the night. I have killed so many deer patterning them the year before. They do it.
Yep.
They are a creature of habit if there ever was one. I mean, things can knock them off their habits, right? Obviously, just like humans, but they do it. Seth says, good night. Good night, Seth. Have a great week. This he's not carrying his piss in a bottle. Teach their own. I'm not either, bro.
Nope. I usually bury it.
Good night, Douglas. We appreciate you. Good night, Josh. We appreciate. Can't wait to see everyone squirrels. Me either, Josh. Are you and Duncan getting out there? I hope so. Me and Mike are going to be out there.
Yep, that's going to be fun.
Everyone.
Kyle's going to join us.
Be sure to appreciate everyone, and we know everybody's got work tomorrow, and I'm going to get off here. And hey, one thing I wanted to plug tonight is you guys know I sell real estate, and in addition to selling real estate, I'm starting a business that we're going to be doing pressure washing, roof washing, driveway sealing, deck and fence washing, maybe even some landscaping if you need it. We're just trying to do home services in Central Kentucky. So I'm going to be making a page and posting about that. And heck, they may become a sponsor of Eastern Outdoors. I don't know, just so I can get some business. But anyway, look for that because you guys are very supportive, and we want to help you, and you guys help us. So I'm going to be plugging that. Mike, that guy sent you the link. But tomorrow night, if you're in the squirrel hunting tournament, tomorrow night I'm going live here on Facebook. Probably we have softball practice at 5:30, probably around 8:30. I'll go a little earlier tomorrow,
Okay.
and we will talk squirrel hunting tournament. I cannot wait.
It's gonna be
I
fun.
hope Mike and I are not eligible to win prizes, but I hope we win. I hope we have the most. I hope we have the most and biggest squirrels. I hope we beat all of you, and we're going
It'd
to
be
tell
pretty
you.
cool. We probably
Maybe Craig,
won't.
we're
But
about at in Central Kentucky. David, I'm in Frankfort, so anything within 30, 45 minutes. So I'm going to be doing, all of Lexington, Georgetown, Frankfort. But I have a couple of buddies that may team up with me that are help me to expand a little bit past that. So it just depends on the job, Dave, honestly. But if you need something, shoot me a message on my personal profile and let me know. Maybe we can work something out. So anyway, tomorrow night, join us. Saturday squirrel hunting tournament. And in 18 days, we'll be deer hunting. Can't wait. Thank you guys for staying with us. We'll see you next Tuesday on Tuesday Night Live. Have a good week.